So, Macrohard. Macrohard. Lovely play on words. What is it? Interestingly, I think everyone thinks it's about like, hey, can I build software that replaces Microsoft software? I'm not sure that's it. And it's obviously from this tweet that came out on August the 22nd, given that software companies like Microsoft do not themselves manufacture any physical hardware, it should be possible to simulate them entirely with AI. And that can be said for any software company, right? Any software company in the world, whether it's Oracle, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's whatever, right? Whether it's the people who do, I don't know, DuckDB, Neo4j, Postgres, whatever. If you're not doing any physical thing, if you're not building something physical, then surely you should be able to have AI build that software for you. But let's take a little step back. What is the benefit of recreating Office, recreating Excel, recreating PowerPoint, all of that, right? Surely the point is not to recreate software that we already have, but to reimagine the outcome, right? And this is what I mean, and I keep talking about that artificial intelligence isn't just about reducing cycle time, it's about rethinking the cycle. It's about rethinking the end of that cycle. Well, maybe not the end, but the output of that cycle. So why would I be trying to build another Word, another Excel, another PowerPoint, another Stream, another whatever? What's the point of all this? I think you have to go back to information architecture, right? And understand that there's data models, and data models feed an information architecture. But that information architecture then also helps compose like the semantic theory of what the humans, business, whatever is trying to achieve, right? What is the thought behind it? What is the thinking, the chain of thought, perhaps, but probably not, of what's actually the outcome, right? So, we all use Word to write documents, reports, blah, 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 blah. But like, we go back a little bit and go, well, why did we come up with that? Well, because everyone's used to before computers and before word processors, it was typewriters, and before that it was handwritten reports, right? A way of keeping records. And then we have Excel, right, which is spreadsheets. Well, because ledgers and so on and so forth, and you have to do calculations, and this seemed the best way to do it. But then let's reimagine it and go, well, wouldn't it be weird? Is weird the right term? No. Wouldn't it be interesting to go, let's reimagine the outcome. Let's change the way this process works. Why do we have, loads of accountants sitting there in front of spreadsheets? What are we trying to get to in the end? We're trying to take raw data in, raw activity, a semantic theory of the business requirement, which is fed by the information architecture, which is built by the data model, and then come up with an outcome. Why do you actually need all of this software in between? Software was written because, we had, assembler, then Pascal, COBOL, C, C++, C#, all of these things, right? So we write software. But if the thing that really makes people happy is to use a thing they're always used to using, right? So I'm always used to using Word, but you know who really likes nails? The people who build hammers. What if you don't need nails anymore? Right? I'm going to say that perhaps this is what Elon's trying to do with Macrohard. Like, if you think about his previous companies, right? And whether it's SpaceX, whether it's Tesla, whether it's the brain, what is it called? Neuralink, right? Whether it's Starlink, right? It's never been about building a faster horse, right? It's been about saying, well, what if I don't need a horse anymore, right? I think that's what he's doing. Like his track record isn't about building a faster horse. it's not about building, a better spaceship like the original NASA spaceships, which are pretty cool, and I wish I had a model of in the background, but I don't. It's never been about that. It's not about just I want to build a better looking car or whatever. It's fundamental reimagining of what the driving experience is, what flying to space was. For those of you old enough to have seen the space shuttle, and you can see it on YouTube on what the internals of like the old space shuttles, that's it, used to look like, bells and whistles and bing, things that goes, flashing lights and all of this stuff. And then you go into the Dragon crew capsule, and it's like, oh, it's just a couple of screens. And to be fair, that's just to keep everyone slightly calm, because or just a big red button that says abort, just if you have a human, to have a human in the loop for the thing. Everything else is done by the machine, right? The experience is different. In Teslas, the experience is different. Neuralink, the experience is different, right? Literally. And Starlink, I don't have one, but I've seen so many people who are just raving about it that it's just amazing, right? The experience is different, and I think Elon understands that AI is all about the experience. And if you think about the data model, the information architecture, and then the semantic theory on top of that, and apply artificial intelligence to it, then I think you can change the experience of what work really is. Why do you need all these reports flying about, this ridiculous terabytes and petabytes of information, which is just really a data swamp, right? It's not really even information, it's just a gigantic mess. Anyone who's worked in a big enough company to have like the intranet, go and search it on the internet, it's like good luck. Information storage and retrieval isn't as important as the semantic theory behind that information. What is it that information is meant to feed in the organization? And you can't have that as a static thing. It has to be dynamic. It has to move. It has to move with the requirements of the business, the requirements of the people, right? And so we have to think about new ways of storing information, in relatable information. So no, I'm not talking about SQL. I'm talking about graph theory and hypergraphs, right? All information is really a hypergraph, right? And if you do a little bit of research on Stephen Wolfram, let's see if I can do that on here. So what's that? Wolfram hypergraph. There you go. So interesting thing here. I'll paste the link. So that's really interesting as well. And I think information is all about that. And once you have that hypergraph, which embeds the semantic theory that the information supports, that the data models build, I think you get to a point where you don't need Office, right? And we know, given let's go to this is always such a not that one. I'll post this as well. That is always such a creepy picture. Who took that picture and went, hey, this is definitely a picture to go on public release? Johnny Ive, the team there, Steve Jobs, they did not build a phone. They didn't build a music player. They put 1 million songs in someone's pocket. They put the internet, a phone, and a music player in someone's pocket together in one device. It's the experience that changed. And I think if you think about, they haven't released anything from this yet. And I think Sam Altman said that, hey, they're not going to release anything, very soon, because they're still working out some interface issues. What does that interface really feel like? There's no one better than Johnny to, if I can call him Johnny, to basically do that, right, and help experiment with that. But I think Elon understands that the experience and the interface is changing. So no, I don't think he's going to take on Microsoft by building an X Office or whatever. I may be wrong. Maybe that's exactly what he's doing. But I don't think he'll, because he's never just built a better horse. He's gone, why do you need a horse, right? And I think that's what Macrohard is. And I think when it turns up, which is probably next year, end of next year is I think where they're trying to aim for. There's not a lot of information on it, I think it will fundamentally, and I said this in a previous video as well, with the layoffs, and I'll link the video there as well. But I think that's what you see. I think you're seeing here it's not even early days. It's the door's being opened, and it's not being cracked open. He's just swinging the door open. Let's just smash my other screen here. I think that's what's happening. It's not incremental. He's not doing an incremental. Oh wow, I created Office in a year with just AI. Like, who cares, right? He doesn't care about that. He knows that can happen. What he cares about is, I don't speak for him, but if you look at his track record, how he thinks, what he thinks about, and how he invests his time, his money, how he brings people together to build something, that I think is the evolutionary rather than exponential rather than incremental change he's going to make. So Macrohard, my bet, isn't an incremental change of like, hey, there's a different version of Office and it costs me a ton less, so I can give it to you for a ton less. I think it's hey, you actually don't need Office anymore, right? This thing, whatever he's building, is going to surface all of this stuff up in a far easier interface, far cleaner experience for your users, which makes your processes faster, more reliable, more trustable. You can securely integrate it with your customers, so your customers almost can mine your information that they're allowed to, that is going to give them the information they want, so you can reduce your customer service. You don't need so many white collar, so many layers in your business, right? So I think he's realized that actually a company, what is defined by a company, what we understand as a company has changed. For 20, 30 years, various HR teams have told me that I'm part of a family. And like, no, you're not. I've always understood that, and everyone understands you're not part of a family. If hard times turn up, guess what? Everyone's name is on that possible redundancy list, right? A company is a vehicle to make shareholders money. That's it. And in return for your labor to help them make money, you also get money that you can then use to live your life, right? Which is why everyone says have a work-life balance, right? Don't dedicate your life to a company. It is definitely not dedicated to you. That's for any company. That's just not how companies work. That relationship does not exist. It's a forced relationship. It's an abusive relationship. No, I've worked for great companies, and if I haven't worked for great companies, I leave. Don't try to change something that's broken. Just leave. There are other places you can go. It should be possible to simulate them entirely with AI. I think that might have. I don't know. I keep thinking that's a red herring. Simulate them with entirely. Yeah, you can simulate a company, but like that doesn't mean you're going to simulate the product. No, I don't think he's going to simulate the product. I think he's going to reimagine what it is that Microsoft does. And I think it will be exponential. I think it will be transformative to every industry. That's my view. I'd love to be a part of that. I think this will be one of those things where you're just like, hey, like this is. I mean, and we've all heard the stories about how hard it is to work for Musk, but that's because he pays well, he demands absolute, right? It's like. There's no fat in the fat on the meat, as it were, in any of his organizations, right? And you don't get to be that successful, and your teams to be that successful if you tolerate fat in your organization, right? So yeah, this is so interesting. But I absolutely think that hypergraphs are the way forward. We already have. We already have knowledge graphs, right? And like you've got like not Netflix, Neo4j, right? Oh, Neo4j. Apparently I can't type. I think you've got Tiger Graph as well, which is another one, and there are plenty of others, right? And I wanted to give you some options there because everyone goes to Neo, but actually there are other options you can use. And I think this is the way forward. I might do another video soon about graphs. That's a pretty interesting book, right? As well, you should definitely You should follow Wolfram. Some of his stuff is like, unless you're a pure mathematician and quite a good one at that, uh, you might not understand it. But he does produce videos and content that is also like for the layman, right? Like I'm not a scientist, I'm not a mathematician, but I understand information. I've done this for long enough to understand the modeling of like data to information to semantics, right? And it helps when someone with a clear understanding of the mathematical basis of it, what is math, right, actually gives you that kind of backup as well. So yeah, look, I hope this has been useful. I'm going to keep a very close eye on Macrohard, and maybe I'll do a video when it gets fully announced to see how close was I, right? Maybe I was not at all, and you go and like not that Elon's ever going to see this, but you're sitting there going, "What the hell's he talking about? I'm just rewriting Office. What's he doing?" But I hope not. I hope he does reimagine it. I hope he, in the terms of, if I can use a vernacular term, I hope he goes balls out and goes, no, this shouldn't be incremental. The power, the $1.5 trillion this year alone, not just by Elon, obviously, like the Nvidia-backed consortium, SoftBank, all of these people, right? The amount of $1 trillion more maybe next year, possibly even more than that, right? All of that shouldn't be for an incremental change. Another version of Office, a co-pilot that sits in your word processor, or your IDE, or your Excel, or your PowerPoint. That's not worth that money. And I think that's where you have to really watch where the money goes. And I'll do a little video on like the whole thing. There's loads of videos, but I have a particular view of why so much money is being spent and why the bubble isn't the thing. And I'll talk about the cycles. I think sort of the waves that are happening, the waveforms, which is beautiful, on what's happening between capability and capacity and how they're increasing in frequency. And I think he's doing something fundamentally transformative for the world, yet again. Because what he's really doing underneath, right, and everything he does is about getting people onto Mars, getting people off this planet, right? And you got to remember that. That's Elon's goal, I don't think, is to like be a really great human businessman on the planet Earth. It's like Elon got us to Mars, right? That's what he's trying to do. And if you think about all the things that the machine, the processes, the thinking that has to happen for this Macrohard, well, all of that is applicable for a for a HAL, right? On the ships that take humans there, or of the autonomous systems which will have to land on Mars and build before humans turn up, right? So yeah, I think we're seeing something really interesting. As always, pretty low key. Everyone, I don't know why people don't like him, but like everyone's always like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. It's like he's changed the world, right? He's already done that several times. He's changed massive disciplines, and now he's on a mission to like, you can tell he's on a mission to like, yeah, that was great, so cars and spaceships and like brain things and Starlink, the internet to the world, etc. But how do I change the entire world? Well, you have to change corporation. You have to change what a corporation is, what a company is, what work is, and he understands that because post-labor is coming down the line very fast, right? Within 2 years, right? That's just what's going to happen. This is going to be a big step along the way, I think. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little chat, one-sided chat with me. Please do engage if you want. I'm always happy to chat to people on it. And I will speak to you later.